What does it mean for us not to belong or to feel like you don't belong?
When you feel valueless, you feel like there's lack of worth that you have for your community, for the world and things like that. And so I'll say for me, when I was going through what I was going through, when I felt valueless and coming out and, family wasn't, mess with me anymore. There was that self-creation, that creative moment where I referred back to Ballroom and referred back to voguing because I love to dance. A few years later, I walked my first ball in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I wanted to be amongst community because I felt so connected at the time. I wanted to create that space for myself.
I've always been different because I had to fight to exist. And coming to Ballroom, I remember when I first went to the village, this is when you can actually drive the cars
onto the pier. I remember.
Right? And I saw the music and the drums.
And the voguing.
And the beat and the rhythm. It was just like everybody was going on, but I knew I had to get to the pier. Like I had to be there. It was something that was calling me. And I remember going on and we was dancing and we noticed that our dancing was different. And I was introduced to Vogue. And I saw everybody voguing. And I felt accepted. I felt immediately, this is where I belong. It was celebrated. I could do my little pirouette. I could play in the mirror with Letitia. And I felt safe. I can leave my building, hop the PATH train, get off on Christopher Street, see my Ballroom family, and I was safe. I was safe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Always knowing you were different or like always knowing you didn't fit in very much resonated with me because like from the earliest day I can remember, like I knew that like I didn't fit with like the other boys. So like, and especially around the Albanian community, there's like a lot of discourse around like how Albanian are you and how religious can you be. So it was just like trying to be as soft and like trying to be as like quiet as you can be to like fit in and like be there for your family because like everyone who trauma everywhere. And like that was also the reality, like everywhere you saw, like for 87 or like 90 days, it was just like raining bombs in that country. So like everything you saw was like obliterated and destroyed. As a queer person, you're always like in the hiding and in the shadows, like trying to protect yourself and like not trying to like let yourself be seen like that. And I remember like one day after high school, I was like going home and my mom and my dad were both in like the living room, like waiting for me. All I remember was like, you have 5 minutes to pack your things. And I was like, okay, it's literally winter outside. Like, I don't even know where to go or like who to call, what to do. And then like a lot of trying to figure out like where to go or like where I even belonged in this world was like very weird because like in one hand I didn't even know that there was a community for me, and in the other I was like, well, if I turn to the Albanian community, they're gonna be like, well, you're not one of us because of who you are, so like you're not welcome here, which was very much the case regardless. So like not belonging is like very familiar, if that makes sense. But like it was up until last year is when I first started like coming out into the scene and like really connecting with this community that it made me feel like, oh my God, like I think this is what I've been looking for like all these years. Because like I was finally in a position where like people were seeing me for me and like people were like loving me for me and like showing up for me the way I needed them to. And I was also showing up for other people who like had it like way worse than I did. And so like that like meant a lot to me to like find a group of people or a community that like really cares for each other and like where the foundation of it is like anti-hate and anti the system we live in and like really grounded and rooted in like radical love for each other, even like if we're not blood related. Like I found that to be like the most like solidifying, most beautiful, liberating thing that I had been seeking for my entire life.